Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Monday Nitro Party. Doing it from the studio again. No more Zoom on this one.
You back, bitches.
I know. We had a lot going on. It's weird. June and July have been both the slowest months, but also, like, we've had a bunch of shit going on. Mm-hmm. You have had some life changes, Josh.
Yes.
Tell the people a little bit about your life changes.
Got a new job.
Yeah.
New job.
You got a new
means
job.
I can smoke marijuana again.
Yeah.
For the first time in 8 years. And I've been high for the last 3 days. Bombed out of my mind. I am good now. We are back from space. We are ready to do this.
What I love about that is that you haven't smoked weed in 8 years, and the amount of change in weed in the last 8 years, you might as well be doing heroin at this point. Like,
yeah, not only that, but like I went from nothing to like 90% THC in a fucking weed vape immediately. So I was great. It was great. It was great.
I'm just waiting for the day that, like, probably soon at this point, that you discover dabbing rigs. Oh god! And like you just do one. You do one. You're like high for 2 weeks. You're like, why did they do this to weed? What happened?
Nah, I'm good with the vape. The vape is very strong.
Vape is strong.
I listened to Death Cab for Cutie for 5 hours in bed. That's what I did Saturday.
That is weed behavior.
It's also a choice.
That's what I did. That's absolutely weed behavior.
It was very nice, though. I agree. That was great.
I mean, you could listen to way worse things if you're high out of your gourd, especially, like I said, dude, for the first time in 8 years, like, that's got to be... I remember, like, because I've been sober now for, like, 6.5 years almost now. So, during that time... I will, little exclusive here. Every now and then I've dabbled back into weed because I don't consider weed a drug per se. Mm-hmm. Like, I know that it is, and I know that it can be used that way, blah, 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 blah. But I also think that it's extremely beneficial to a lot of people for a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And I've used it for sleep. I've used it for, like anxiety shit, panic attacks, all that stuff. I'm very pro weed. But I remember the first time I jumped back into it, like after smoking for a lot of years, like fucking used to do it all the time. Mm-hmm. I jumped back into it and I took one hit and I coughed and I was like, oh, I'm going to die. Like, I was like, what the fuck happened here?
It was
like,
an immediate reaction for me.
Instant, dude. Dude, as soon as I cough, that's why, like, so even if I go back to weed, like, for real, I can't even smoke anymore. Like, I can't actually, I have to do edibles, which is the weirdest thing. If you guys don't know about weed behavior, when people do edibles usually, that's when they get the panics. That's when they get the paranoia. That's when they get the freakouts. Me, I take an edible, I get significantly higher than I would if I smoked it. But also, it's such a calming high for me, which is weird. It shouldn't be at all.
I did a very strong edible, and I met Mick Foley in Atlantic City.
Are you sure you met Mick Foley? Or
yes,
was it like,
no, it was Mick Foley. And I couldn't stop touching his arms.
Oh, he probably hated that. He probably hated that.
Yeah.
We love you, Mick, but I've seen you at comedy shows, and I know you do not like to be touched. You are not a touchy one.
But yeah, no, it was just good for anxiety. All that shit that happens in your head and start thinking things, and it's gone.
Yeah, dude.
For the most part.
I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you to be back into the weed world because, especially now that New York has legalized it. Mm-hmm. New York did the immediate New York shit, though, where it's like it's legalized, but we're going to have like 250 shitty dispensaries and like 5 ones that are dope. Yeah. The other ones are just going to be like, we're going to sell you all sorts of shit and we're going to call it weed. Yeah. Like, it just, So I am happy. Like, I'm happy for you. And I think this is going to be a good change for you. It's going to help a lot. So I'm like, fuck, Monday Nitro Party, we're pro weed here on this team. Absolutely pro weed. But I don't want to keep our guests waiting too much longer. We wanted to chat about weed. He's just been sitting here just chilling, like in the camera, just like, just not saying shit.
I mean, I still want to talk about weed, but I want to get introed in.
No, don't worry. We'll have you talk about weed.
An order of operations.
There is, absolutely. We got to fucking run a tight ship here. So our guest today, we actually, me and our producer met him at a really cool party for a studio called Gigantic Studios, which shout out to them. They fucking rule. And then Josh here met him literally the night before at the event that he runs. He is the head of this company, Catalyst Wrestling. Brendan Sokler, what's up, man?
Hey, gang. I am one of a consortium of owners. I'm the ring announcer, and I think in terms of where my job within that is, when you have a bunch of people helping make shit work,
Sure.
is kind of big picture creative. Like, we have an incredible booker. We have really solid people helping us figure out how to make a indie wrestling company profitable and organized, which is a
Get outta here.
prospect, quite the challenge, but we're going to be rocking and rolling with that. And then, yeah, the Catalyst has been around like 5 years before I got involved, but we moved it to Brooklyn within the past 2 years and have been doing shows at the Bell House, Chilo's, Strong Rope Brewery, the Muse when that was around, which was a circus venue. So yeah, we're doing cool shit here.
I know about the
And
Muse.
I
I
met
miss it.
Josh in line for
Yeah.
margaritas at Chilo's.
Was it margarita? Oh, I was fucked up. I was pretty bummed.
I always have painkillers there, which are like orange juice, coconut milk, pineapple juice, rum, and nutmeg.
I thought you were talking like Percocet.
Yeah,
You're like,
that was
Just doing a soma, brother.
I heard somebody say, "Let me get a painkiller." I was like, "Yeah, we're at a fucking wrestling show, of course." And I was like, "Oh, it's on the menu."
Not that type of wrestling
no,
show.
not dark side of the indie ring. Like, no, not at all. No, it's cool though because like I think the venue, especially the venue that you guys are doing it at, it's such a cool venue. Like, and is that basically your home venue?
It is our home venue as of very recently. Chilo's has been an incredible partner for us. They're right next to my house. I went next door to go grab a taco and went, oh, I should do wrestling here. Fuck.
How did you present that to them? Because that's like, I mean, I know how to present like a comedy show idea to a venue.
Yeah.
And I know Josh, like, same boat. Like, I know how to do those things, but how the fuck do you go to a place like Chilo's and be like, hey, I had a crazy idea?
Well, I mean, it was a couple things. I mean, you have such deep pro wrestling roots within Mexican culture, and it is a Mexican restaurant that
Absolutely.
Has an amazing outdoor taco truck. I will recommend to everyone and their mother, go get the duck tacos. They will change your life. But I went in, and the manager, Carlos, has been just like one of the easiest people to be talking to. Just, I had a bunch of drinks with him and was shooting the shit and said, hey, we run a pro wrestling television program. I'd love for us to do something here. And he's like, yeah, let's fucking go.
Dude, that's dope.
Yeah.
Sometimes drunk decisions work out.
Oh,
Honestly, yeah.
you know,
Sometimes. Sometimes they
pitch
do.
drunk, agree sober.
Sure, yeah. That's how you got to
how
do
you
it.
get the
You
best
got
ideas.
to, you got to do the drunk pitch, and then you got to get sober, and then go over the details, and be like, "Did we fuck up? No, we didn't fuck up. Okay, we're good. We're
The
good."
best idea? Let's buy a bar. And then the next day, let's not buy a bar.
Right.
But no, but for this, it was something where like I come from film theater world. Like, pro wrestling got me into theater. Theater then got me into film. Film then got me into doing stuff with wrestling, and it's all been very full circle for me. But we do try to have a pro wrestling environment that is conducive for everyone. It is BIPOC and LGBTQ friendly. Like, we have an incredibly diverse roster of performers, and we try to just like open it up to everyone, because I think pro wrestling's still fairly stigmatized.
Sure.
So like, in our efforts to open that up, we also try to bring in things like brass bands, rap battles with iBattle rappers. We've had Real Deal, who is huge in the underground rap scene, come in. Poison Pen. There's a hip-hop improv troupe called North Coast that we had one of their beatboxers at the Rock the Bell House event like do our intermission for the show. And like, if I really do believe, which I do down to a cellular level, that pro wrestling is for everyone, it's kind of incumbent on us also to like open the door to folks. So Carlos had been putting on those types of really cool events for film, for bingo, for karaoke, like all sorts of shit, where it's a very comfortable environment. There's families there, there's picnic tables, and people are having tacos and painkillers, not somas. It just seemed like such a natural fit, and we've been talking to them over the past couple of weeks, and we're going to be creating Chilo's merch. They're giving us a space to put up a banner. Like, this is our summer home. It would be our full-time home if not for the fact that winter is fucking cold cold in New York.
It is. Winter sucks in New York.
But then we have an amazing partner in Bell House, and Strong Rope, which was right on the water, and Red Hook was amazing to work with as well. So we, as a company, are trying to be very much using non-traditional venues, get the sense of actually being in New York, because most pro wrestling shows, like an episode of AEW in Cincinnati will look the same as an episode of AEW in Albany, which is not a bad thing. We pay for that.
Right.
But we're in New York. It's scenic as fuck. It has amazing artists. So we're trying to bring that all together and create a uniquely New York-based pro wrestling identity.
Well, and I also think, like, if you're doing, especially with indie wrestling, which is where I'm going to transition this into a little bit of, like, Josh is the indie person between the two of us.
Yeah.
Like, when I say that, like, I know indie stuff, like, from afar, but you know more people about, like, within that part of the industry.
I really like going.
Yeah. Well, no, that's good though. And the reason I say this, and the reason I say it is because, like, that means that you know more people within that part of it. You know more of, like, what the shows look like, how they operate. Like, you've done commentary for them before. Like, you've done shit like that too, which is great. But also, like, the reason I bring this up is because I think with indie wrestling especially, like, that's the level where you take the chances. Like, that's where you take the chance of, like, being like, this is a New York, like, promotion. You know, like, you do the visual stuff. Sometimes it works great, and then sometimes it doesn't work, but it's still, like, I bring up Blackcraft Wrestling as an example of something where they fucking tried to do something really cool with, like, a gothic, almost horror-like aspect to it, which was dope, but there was a lot of problems with it.
Yeah.
But it's still, like, you take those chances on the indie level. So, like, what do you think, like, what do you see moving forward, like, with Catalyst? Like, what are some of your goals with it aside from just doing, like, doing just the New York based thing? Like, what do you want to see out of Catalyst?
Well, I think pro wrestling writ large has been presented in a fairly similar way for the last 80 years.
Long time. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly evolved from, like, the 1920s and 1912s when you had, like, George Hackenschmidt. And
Yeah. Like,
but in terms of the presentation, like,
actual ropes.
we're doing predominantly a presentation that is like WWE, like boxing, and has these older vestiges on it. And, like, we have so many forms of entertainment out there generally. And what we consistently talk about in Catalyst is, like, the point of the arrow always has to be wrestling. Like, we want to make it big on the wrestling side, big on narrative storytelling. But in terms of what we can do as a TV show where we're telling long-term stories, we can integrate a whole bunch of different shit from other art forms to try to, like, build that out. So what I'm hoping for in the future is that we're bringing in more artists. We're making it visually a bit different. We continue shooting in different ways. We shoot on drone and 360 cameras to try to give, like, a very different feel to how our wrestling is presented. So that if you see it on TV, you're like, I have not seen anything that looks like that.
Nice.
Yeah. So
as long as we don't get Junkyard Invitational hardcore match vibes from the overhead shot from WCW.
You're gonna hate the next show then.
Oh man,
the taco brawl in the back lot. It's gonna be great.
Man. I was gonna say real quick that we were talking about, like, diversity and as far as, like, everyone coming to the shows. That I noticed the last Catalyst show, there was people there that I could tell. I was like, they don't normally go to wrestling shows.
No,
That they're just coming to hang out and have a good time. I was like, I love that.
We had an interesting flip in the last show. I'd say that most of the time we've been about a 60% hardcore fans, 40% casual fans. Mm-hmm. And in this show, it was kind of flipped. I could attribute that to there was a lot of shows going on that day. It was a Saturday rather than a Sunday. But, like, we have a walk-up crowd that discovers it through the fence or the sounds that are happening. Like, we do get a decent number of people that did not know wrestling was happening and then stumble on it, or, like, are holding onto the cage with their kids on their shoulders watching, which is, like, a deeply incredible feeling.
That's awesome.
But it is something where we are gathering a larger audience to this, which feels like proof in the pudding, which I measure all my success on pudding. So like this is working greatly for me. But
You guys are gonna have a UK show that's a Yorkshire pudding.
I love that. We're bringing New York to England just to have a Yorkshire pudding ring. Mark my words.
See, it's cool too because the location. You guys, if you guys ever wanted to do anything like a crazy ass match, you guys could do like a graveyard match because you guys are right by Greenwood Cemetery.
Yeah, we're right by Greenwood.
Right there. Yeah, you could do a bunch.
It's so scenic and so deeply full of dead people.
It's easily the most beautiful cemetery in New York, if not one of the most beautiful cemeteries in most of the country, which is a weird sentence to say.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful meat farm.
Yeah, you have Basquiat is buried there. You have the sister statue to the Statue of Liberty that's there, which like is in a direct eye line and height proportion to the Statue of Liberty.
Interesting.
Just kind of cool.
It's the Statue of Liberty sister that lives in Brooklyn. Is just on like a clean eating schedule. Like,
Yes.
no halal for that one. She's vegan. Like
Ton of sweet green.
yeah. Absolutely. That's cool, dude. I'm happy for you guys. I think what you're doing is cool. So Josh, tell everybody about your experience at the show. Like, because like I said, I've never been to a show. I've just seen like clips and shit.
Tell me about my show.
Okay.
Right next to you.
Yeah.
Keep your hands under the table if you're gonna do
I'm
this.
not because you're here. I'm not gonna gas up a little extra or anything like that. I will say, first of all, I parked. I walked up the block. I get to the venue. I'm like, oh, this looks nice. Like, I just like the entire arena. Like, Rob Pismani, good friend of mine, good friend of yours. I don't know if you know Rob.
I think I may have met
He
Rob.
lives in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob fucking rules.
He showed up a little bit after we started hanging out, drinking. He got some margaritas. We were just having fun. I don't know. It was just the funny part was I wanted to eat, but the drinks, the whole setup too with that was so good because it was like, you set up your tab right away and then you don't think about it until the end.
Yeah.
Meaning like you give them your name first and you don't have to keep repeating like, oh,
right
on Alba,
right.
So and it also carries over from the bar to the food truck.
Oh shit. Okay.
So it's not like you have to set up another tab over there. It's just you tell them your name and you just get.
That's a hell of a lot more convenience than
Very
than
convenient.
most of those events.
I was 3 beers in until I finally got food. But
I mean, listen, fair.
the duck taco is amazing. The show was great. Two things that stuck out to me the most about the show. One, there was like a 10-year-old next to me, cursing every wrestler out in front of his parents, cocksucker, the whole nine.
Get out of here. In a wrestling crowd?
Yeah.
No way.
That was hilarious. I was enjoying that. And two,
It's like, dude, we are not on Xbox. What are you doing?
I hope I see that kid back in September. And also the brawl that happened at the end of the match. That was actually probably the best brawl live I've seen in person.
Nice.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
That whole fiasco at the end when everyone's just everywhere, and I was like just watching everything. I was like, this is great. Like it's like because most of the times you see like a brawl on an indie show and you're just like, all right, I see what they're doing, and it ends like that. But after that, this one, I was just like, oh, that was really good. And then also after the show, it was like the fun little hang after.
Yeah.
I was hanging out, just chilling, drinking still, all that. I think that's when we met after.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a great time.
Fuck yeah,
The
dude.
show was great. Everybody was awesome. Fortunately, Ghost Shadow had a thing that happened.
Yes. Ghost Shadow had a dislocated elbow off a standing senton, which nearly had me shit my pants.
Yeah. Dude, dislocations when it comes to any of the big joints, elbows, knees, stuff like that, like a dislocated kneecap is one of the most horrible looking things ever, and like it's super painful. I had it happen when I was in football, and I thought I was fucking done. I was like, dude, there's no way, like it's broken, blah blah blah. And sure enough, I went back and they popped it back in place. Hurt more getting it popped back in place than it did during the dislocation. And I've heard with elbows, it's very similar.
If you rewind at all on this, you will see both of us twitching at different times during that story.
Yeah, dude.
Terrifying, honestly.
Yeah.
But No, Ghost Shadow is an incredible performer, and like freak accidents happen in the ring.
Of course.
We managed to get a lovely little get well Ghost Shadow drone shot
very nice.
moment
Oh, nice.
to get to him. He's just aces to work with, and one of like the unsung innovators of pro wrestling on an independent level. Like I've equated him to Canyon a lot of times in just private conversations, in that just like quietly there's a lot of shit you could attribute back to Ghost Shadow, and how much he's influenced the scene here cannot be stated enough.
Fuck yeah. If you had do you have any kind of a bucket list for performers that you want to have on the show? Like, especially with it being a Mexican restaurant, that type of thing. If there's a person from Lucha Libre that you absolutely fucking want to have on the show, even just once, who you think you got out there?
I already thought of a name.
I mean, there are so damn many, and we have, not to be political about it, I will get around to it. But, no, we have Rocky Romero was just on our last show. He's going to be at Bell Time on September 24th at Chilo's, 4 o'clock. But Rocky is great and has deep roots within Lucha Libre down there. Jack obviously lives down there and has been working for every company. So, we hope to work with a whole lot of guys, but obviously, Commander, Vikingo, Ray FedEx is just a beast. Although I believe he just left AAA, was announced.
I think he did. Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
I think there was a thing that happened with contractually with that, and I think he left AAA really recently.
Yeah. I got to meet him recently at a Ring of Honor show, and he and his brother are just kind, very dapper dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Homies know how to dress.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many, and there's so much pro wrestling out there that there are people that I have not heard of that our Booker Ash brings in that are just utterly amazing and melt my brain. And the roster of Catalyst, when I came in, there was a decent number of guys that I didn't know until I went to those shows and went, oh shit, this is an incredible roster. New York is a really interesting scene right now, and it is a hub that people are willing to travel to. We had just a banger of a triple threat with 3 boys from North Carolina in Jay Malachi, Jackson Drake, and Diego Hill, who are all utterly fantastic. We have the Ugly Sucklings coming up. Ron Bass Jr. comes up from Florida. And then you have people like Ghost Shadow and Homicide who have been holding it down here for years. New York's a fun place to be running, other than the fact that it is a lot of companies trying to take up the same area. But, we hope to work with a lot of luchadors from Mexico and a lot of companies in the area. So,
Josh, what was your name that immediately
Ray
popped?
Phoenix, he said it.
Yeah, Ray Phoenix.
I was just
yeah, it's one of those things that I think now, especially with what AEW has done, they've brought AEW for they've done some good things, some bad things, new company, blah blah blah. I get those things. One of the things that they've done that has kind of been good, that is a little bit of a throwback too, is kind of what WCW used to do, where they're kind of ushering in these names that a lot of people just haven't gotten the chance to see. People like Vikingo and stuff and Commander and Dralistico and stuff like that. These people that just, people on a wider scale hadn't been able to see it. And I remember the reaction when people first saw Vikingo. They were like, what is this?
Right.
That type of thing. And it's dude, Vikingo's just the tip of the iceberg. Because all they had seen from that before was, Ray Phoenix. So it was they thought that was kind of just isolated to, him and the company.
Yeah.
And then you have people like Vikingo coming in and Dralistico and Commander and all these other people that are coming in. They're doing these things. And I think it's a lot more accessible than people realize. So you never know what's going to pop up on Catalyst. You never know who's going to pop up in there,
Yeah, I mean, and it is such a thing where, if you're a good company and you have a good reputation, people are willing to work. And New York is a fun place to work. Catalyst is a fun place to work, and Chilo's is certainly a fun venue to be wrestling in. From everyone that has told me that, I have yet to wrestle in Chilo's. I have no plans to wrestle in Chilo's. Or will I? I don't know.
Never say never.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of stuff going on with wrestling right now. I mean, like I said, we've been gone for a while. We've been off for a little bit, getting life in order.
Hi.
Yeah, yep, definitely getting reacquainted
So proud of you, Jeff.
with weed. Which, goddamn, like I'm legitimately happy for you. Like, anytime somebody rediscovers weed, I'm just like, fuck yeah, good for you.
I was so amused with the thing about edibles because it's either I'm gonna have a nice afternoon or I just eaten a grenade.
Right, one of the two. Yeah,
Like
I've had those
middle
grenade
ground.
situations where I ate too much of one.
Yeah.
And I had a friend of mine that gave me one time, and because I was trying to get over jet lag. And I ate the whole thing, and he just goes, "Do you eat that whole thing?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" I was like, "How much weed did I just eat?" He goes, "You say 400 milligrams, buddy." And I'm like,
That's a lot.
"That's so much more than a lot." Like it was. I was like, "How high am I going to be?" He goes, "Real high for a long time." And I was like, "Fuck!" And I was high for like 2 days. It was the worst
I have
experience.
a fairly similar story that does involve wrestling.
Oh yeah, no
Yeah.
shit. All right, throw it on me.
All right, so I'm in LA with my friend Josh Mayo. He is a producer who went to Miami with me, and I'd crash at his house whenever I'm out in LA. So we're watching wrestling, and I have a little crunch bar, and it's like 400. It says 220 milligrams, but I think it's actually secretly like 400.
It's probably a 2 serving. It's probably
yeah.
That's what mine was. Mine was a,
Yep.
a quad dose, and I just ate the whole fucking thing because I'm fat. So,
So I gave it to Josh, and he hands it back, and half of it is gone.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, I guess it's that kind of night. So I have that, and cut to hour and a half later, we're both just openly weeping watching Grado beat Drew McIntyre. If you have not seen the clip of Grado's entrance to Like a Prayer with 7,000 Scottish people singing along, it is magical. It will hit you in the feelies. And then the subsequent video of him winning, where you have the Scottish announcer being like, "By fuck, I don't believe in anything, but I do believe in Grado." It's so gorgeous. Then Mick Foley gets involved. He gets to wear Mick Foley's jacket, and we're just not Skyping. We're FaceTiming my at the time partner and being like, "This is beautiful." And she's back in New York.
She's like, "Why are you crying?" Like,
It's
what the
3
fuck?
a.m. in LA. It's
yeah.
5 there. We were jackasses.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's beautiful match. Grado Drew McIntyre, ICW.
Nice.
Josh, have you ever had? I'm like ask you this question now because I don't know if you've had this situation yet. But have you had one of those situations where it's either an edible or like you take a hit and then you cough too much, and your brain visually does the THX music noise, like
Every
from
day.
it, just like boom.
Yesterday, the day before that, yeah.
Where you just like you're looking and all of a sudden the room just goes whoosh, like that type of thing where you're like, okay, I'm that high. All right.
Well, the thing was with the I know that the vape that I have is like very high concentrate and whatever. So I remember just like I was like, I know I need a little bit because let me ease into it, and then like I would hold it in, and then when I start feeling it in my chest and everything,
Yeah,
I'm like, all right, enough. But it was like too late, and then I would let this cough out, and then
Yeah,
just
dude, the cough.
lightning through my entire body, and I was like, I thought this was just a body.
Right.
Nope, it's not.
Why do I have bees under my skin now?
No.
Like,
I ordered Grubhub, and in the notes I put ketchup with a smiley face.
I saw that. It made me laugh. I was just like, aw, look at that.
I was like, ketchup.
So since we're talking about weed and wrestling, here's a question for you guys. Do you think it's good that WWE has basically fucked off from the no weed rule?
Fucked off.
Like, like as in like they're allowing marijuana now.
Yes, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's where we're headed nationally. I think in terms of pain management, it is such an upgrade to some of the previous practices that have happened in wrestling.
Yeah.
I think it will literally save lives. So, yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, Josh, what are you thinking?
Same thing about that, because same thing about saving lives, because there's people, you just go the other route and it doesn't work out well for them.
Yeah, I think, it's
a big thing right there,
especially, when it comes to wrestling, there's just, you get thrown around so much and your body gets put through so much that, like, it's very easy to get hooked on painkillers, the actual pills, not the awesome drinks at Chilos. But it's tough to, like, it's fucking hard. Like, when you hear people talk about it, like, Kurt Angle and people like that, like, who who had an entire chunk of his career where he was known as Perk Angle. Like,
Yeah.
Great meme selection, though.
yeah, fantastic memes. Fantastic. But like, it's because of something like that, those were so commonly grabbed because you can go to Mexico and buy those over the counter. Like that's, and nobody's testing for fucking Somas or Percocets or, you know, any of that type of shit. That's not coming up in drug tests when they're doing like wellness checks. Whereas like weed, a little bit of weed in your system, fucking you're out, you know, like that type of thing. So now I think what they're doing, I think it's actually going to be something that will change the course of a lot of people's post-wrestling careers. Like, I think we're going to see a lot less China stories.
I think we already are. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like that narrative has slowed down a bit. I do think this is part of that. Is that, like, there isn't that type of accessibility. There isn't that type of culture. And there has been shifts as people got more information on it. But, you know, I work as a fight director, actor, producer. And, like, I will tell you, nothing that I've done on fight direction or, like, in a fight in a Shakespeare play hurt as much as doing pro wrestling training for a few days. There was this program called Renaissance Rumble. My former high school theater teacher who got me into acting on like a serious level used to work the Maryland Ren Fair with these guys who do wrestling there.
Yeah.
And they did a wrestling intensive for the actor up here, which was ridiculous. We went to Staten Island. I think Warrior Wrestling runs out there.
Oh, shit.
You had to go behind a soccer field in order to get to this hidden pro wrestling ring in the back. And it was an active soccer game during this showcase.
That's hilarious.
So I trained for like 3 days.
You got to walk through the soccer game. They're not going to like it. They're going to be very angry. But walk through the soccer game. Yeah.
But shout out to Renaissance Rumble. But like I did the training for 3 days. I hurt for 5 days. And I'll tell you, man, like it kicked my ass. It kicked my ass more than playing ice hockey for 10 years. Anything I've ever done on stage or film, like it is a rough thing to be a wrestler. So I commend anyone who is allowing a marijuana policy that is more lenient and headed towards where I think we are societally.
Yeah. Josh, you've taken bumps, haven't you?
I wasn't supposed to, but yes.
So we're not going to talk about who let you do it, but you.
No one let me do it. Yeah. I just got kicked out.
He just rolled into the ring. You're like, I'm taking a fucking back bump.
Well, the first one I did. So it was during WrestleMania Access in Houston, WrestleMania 25. They had the Hell in a Cell setup in the WWE ring. So they would take you in the ring, and you look around. You're in a WWE ring. Look around. You're in a cell. So then, real quick, me and my buddy, we just started like play fighting, and then just threw me on the mat, and I just went. I threw myself on the mat, and then immediately all the air in my body left.
Oh, that's the thing.
And then I went. I didn't think that was gonna happen, and he's kicking me in the corner.
You're like, no, I don't like this. I don't like it at all.
And then the lady screamed at us just to get out, and then that was it. Not. Are you okay? Just get out.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I left the ring.
As you just go like, I am gonna leave the cell, but I'm getting my Mick Foley moment. Fucking start climbing. Yeah, dude. Everybody I've talked to that's just taken bumps, like not like done a little bit of wrestling training or whatever, but not like fully gone into it. Everybody that I've talked to has said basically the same thing. Like just that first time you take the bump, the air goes away, and you're like, oh, didn't expect that.
Yeah.
And then also the after is just like, oh fuck, all I did was run the ropes and, you know, did a few back bumps, and I feel like I just did construction. Like, you know, your body, it's just not something you're used to. So I think, yeah, it is cool. And I'm glad both you guys agree with that. And I expected you both to. I think it's cool that, like, the companies are allowing that stuff. It kind of started with UFC a little bit because one of the Diaz brothers, I think it was Nate Diaz, kept on getting popped for weed, and they were like, are you guys fucking dumb? Like, it's just literally just weed. Like, he could be doing a lot more. He's from Bakersfield. Like, he could be doing so much more. Just weed. And they started to let that like leniency come in, and it helped a lot because you could see it in a lot of fighters. Like, they started like actually their training was better. They weren't getting as hurt. They weren't getting as, you know, like fucked up on actual pharmaceutical stuff.
Yeah, and pharmaceutical stuff can really mess with your body. Like, particularly if you're going to, the schedule and the toll on the body of a wrestler is not the norm for most.
No.
So when you have certain drugs just going into you like that, like it can increase your ability to get injured. So like, I think this is a very good thing that we're trending in this.
I used to be on a lot of painkillers for a lot of years, and it was one of the sneakiest and also quickest addictions that I ever developed, because it was through football and through amateur wrestling and through weightlifting, like through powerlifting. I was on a bunch of stuff.
A lot of stuff on the neck.
Very tough on the neck, very tough on the shoulders, like because I was doing squats a lot, so I'd have the weight bar across my shoulders a lot. So there was a lot of like pains and stuff that you don't realize were there until you stop doing that stuff. Where it's just like, oh, that sucks. Like I didn't realize
I
I
have
was going to have all
avoided
these.
squats with the bar on the neck like the plague. Because
You should.
I'm 5'8" after yoga. I don't have much room to like go down. So
Yeah, dude. And I'll tell you this, if it wasn't for the fact like, so I was using like pain management stuff, and then right after I was done, because I got injured, and that's ultimately what made it to where I had to stop doing powerlifting. Like my shin tree trunked. Like it was a bad fucking injury. But I started using them just for pain management, and then once the pain management was gone, I was just like, oh yeah, I still have all these, and I feel better when I take them. But it was so quick, and then like as soon as I was out of it, it was just like, oh, shit, fuck. All right, I need more. God damn it. Like it was fuck it, dude, so sneaky. So I'm really happy. Like I'm happy that they're doing the weed thing, and also like there's weed characters in wrestling. Like
Yeah.
not just the Matt Riddles, like the Grim Reaper, which
Grim Reaper is
hilarious.
phenomenal, man.
He's hilarious.
He's amazing. We just had Kevin Cash wrestle Bobby Orlando on our last show, and Kevin is a Grim Reaper trainee. Grim has started his own promotion up in the Bronx.
Oh, shit.
I think they're having their second show. I don't remember the title of it. Put it in
That's
the show
fair.
notes
No,
later.
like no, I didn't know that. I had no idea about that. I like the weed.
Loud East. I think it's Loud East Wrestling.
Nice.
Yeah.
That actually does make sense.
Yeah.
Josh, you a Grim Reaper fan? Yeah. And I've seen you share stuff with me about him all the time. He's hilarious. He is. He's like Orange Cassidy, but like Orange Kush Cassidy. Like he's that kind of dude, just running around with the.
I
with
now
the
want
joints.
that tag team.
Right, Orange Kush Cassidy.
Someone give that to me.
So let's talk about some current stuff, because a lot of stuff's been happening in the big leagues. A lot of stuff's been happening with WWE, with AEW. AEW just had a bunch of new policies drop that was kind of interesting, like, which is good. It's not a bad thing. Like it's a lot of stuff that should have been done in the first place, like the unprotected chair shots to the head and stuff like that. Like a lot of shit like that. Which
rules for a company.
right, like right, not just having it be completely fucking
Actually, I have a
crazy.
fun story real quick about AEW.
Oh yeah, throw it out, man. Yeah, absolutely.
So one of my new coworkers is a big wrestling fan. So he just told me this earlier today. He went to Full Gear
Okay.
in Jersey.
Okay.
He said he bought last minute. He bought nosebleeds. Then he bought ringside seats for like $50 last minute, right?
Yeah.
So he walks down there with his daughter. He looks around the corner. He sees a corridor. He goes, "There's no security there."
Oh, fuck.
He walks in there, curious. He goes, "What's in there?" No security, no nothing. The press conference room.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's wild.
And he's looking around, He's like, he tells his daughter, "Baby, we're gonna take some pictures. We'll be quick and then we'll get out of here." So he goes to the podium, and I'm pulling the picture out right now because it's so funny. And there he is, just sitting,
Hilarious.
right there at the
Just chilling.
no security, no nothing, just there.
It looks like one of those pictures that comedians take at like a late night table.
Yeah.
But when they're just doing like the studio tour, it's like, motherfucker, you didn't have a set on that, okay? Like, why are you sitting in Conan's chair?
Yeah.
Like, or whatever.
So I
But
already knew they were kind of very lenient as it is, like as far as rules go. But like,
That's
after,
hilarious.
he told me that, I was like, yeah, it makes sense that they're coming down hard now on certain things.
dude, I would have gone in there. I would have camped out somewhere out of sight, out of mind until the press conference started.
I would have been one of the reporters.
I would have been one of the reporters, and then I would have asked a question. And then, like with AEW's press conferences, if you guys don't know, the way that they got to do it is they got to like raise their hand, they got to say what publication they're from, and they ask their question. First thing out of my mind would be like, yeah, Jonas Barnes reporting from Brazzers, like Brazers, whatever you want to call it. Fucking just like throw out a porn company. They'll be like, get the fuck out of here, like right now.
You can do that Monday Nitro Party.
All right, yeah, absolutely.
Wait, what type of company is this?
What's happening?
So yeah, rules.
No, I think honestly, yeah. Like, so they're doing stuff that's cool. I'm glad they're doing the rules on that, and like, I'm happy that they're still kind of being like lenient with certain things that does set them apart. Like, they're gonna have the blood and guts match like Wednesday, and that's gonna be as violent as it always is, because they do have, when they do their matches that are on the more extreme side of it, they're a company that does toe the line between like traditional professional wrestling, traditional hardcore matches, and deathmatch style.
Yeah.
Because they're doing the barbed wire, they're doing the exploding ring, they're doing all the things. But I am happy that they're at least kind of reining it in and being like, we can do all this crazy shit, but like, let's at least be a little fucking protective of our people,
Right.
Yeah. Everything made sense to me on that. It was, we're going to clear it with people, and then things won't be repetitive, and things will be safe and approved and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, nothing was, oh my God, AEW is ruined forever.
No, like WWE, I remember when WWE first came out with the rule of doing the no chair shots to the head. Do you remember fans freaking the fuck out about that? They were like, what? You can't do a chair shot to the head? I'm like, you don't give a fuck about those wrestlers. Like, holy shit. Oh, man. And I remember that too, but they're like, we're never going to get a match like The Rock and Mankind ever again. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, God. Like,
fucking good.
Yeah, like, we don't need that. Like,
we know too much about CTE at this point.
Dude.
Like,
Yeah. You can still see that. Just watch a Matthew Justice match.
Oh, God, dude.
It's just
There was. Have you guys seen that clip that's been going around with the dude? I don't know who it was. It was the
weekend.
I don't know if I don't know when it happened. It was the dude that was doing a 630 and he landed straight on his fucking head.
On a chair?
No, it wasn't on a chair. It was just in the ring. He was doing a 630, and I think he was doing a 450, and I think he over rotated, or he was doing a 630 and he under rotated, but he spiked.
Spiked in the ring.
Dude, he spiked, but here's the thing. The reason I'm bringing it up is because this is where rules come into play. The dude did that, and then whoever his opponent was, who, again, I don't know who these two people were. Whoever his opponent was, like, grabbed the dude by the wrist and by the fucking ankles and was, like, dragging him into position to do a top rope move. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
That part might have been the most uncomfortable part for me. Like, if you have a crazed fall, yeah, awful, scary, cringy.
Right.
But then knowing what we know about, like, moving right after, I was like, no.
Like, stop that. Yeah. Like, he's clearly not even remotely moving.
Yeah.
Like,
I was gonna bring up another incident that happened over the weekend with Mao and Bobby Beverly.
I didn't see that.
See that clip?
No, what happened?
No, basically it was the Barroom Blitz, Circle 6.
Okay.
They put on great shows. Like, I love.
Shout out Kevin Gill.
Yeah, they're awesome. Kevin's awesome. But there was a video that went around. Let me see if I can pull it up so I can show you guys, and then maybe we'll just edit it and play that on the thing. But basically, Mao went to do like some kind of pile driver or power bomb to Bobby Beverly.
Okay.
And when he went backwards to drop him, Bobby hit the back of his head on the top of the chair.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and that was probably like, I was like, okay, Jesus Christ, that is bad. But he wrestled the match the next day, so I guess he's fine. But that scared the shit out of me.
Well, while you're bringing that one up, I'm going to show you this one, the one that I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah.
And then look, and fucking like, dude, the guy is literally dead weight. Like,
yeah,
I don't, again,
you're still going up for the move. Okay, the doc's in.
With the doc's in, and like also the referee and the doctor are both like, dude, like, stop. Like, what are you doing? And the guy's like, but I want to do my move. Like, no, don't do your fucking move. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm bringing this up is because, again, rules are important. They're very important. And when it comes to anything like that in the ring, like, you got to have protocols. Like, you got to have things that go like that. I wish nothing but the best for that guy. I don't know who it was. I hope that it was just a stinger. I hope at worst it was a concussion. Mm-hmm. I really hope that guy is walking after that, because like that's there's so many people doing moves like 630s and shit now. Mm-hmm. Like, it used to be a Ricochet only thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Am I the only one noticing this Tiger Driver craze that's been happening now?
Yeah, the Tiger
It's in
Driver.
response to the Osprey Omega match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now people are trying it out, and I'm just like, what is happening?
So when I saw that move, this is interesting too, because it comes back to the rules thing. I think with certain performers, if they choreograph that spot properly, or if they go over the spot properly prior to the show, they can make it look nasty. Specifically, they can make it look real nasty, even though it's relatively safe. So I saw that spot over and over again because I was curious. Like, to me, it looked like a botched spot. It also kind of looked like Will Ospreay kind of just like said fuck it and pulled like a Brock Lesnar with Hardcore Holly type of thing. But then the more I looked at it, I was like, no, this was clearly it was a planned spot. And then I saw the way that Kenny landed where he tucked the chin, he rolled the neck over to the side, like he knew exactly how to land on it and also to make it look just in the moment, I was like, he's dead. Like in the moment, I was like, holy shit. But
that's the story of the match.
That's done well.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
that's done well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Not just everyone else trying it.
Yeah, like fucking no.
It was justified in the match because Ospreay could not put Kenny away with traditional means. It was just too damn good and had to resort to one of the most dangerous moves in the history of Japanese wrestling.
Yeah.
And Kenny is an artist at this style of wrestling. I'm thankful that it's not every match because God knows that could go awry.
Right.
Or should this be busted out every match because then it loses its specialness. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, surprising thing to say, spicy take. Kenny Omega, very good professional wrestler.
I know. Crazy.
Yeah.
Nobody ever thought that.
Yeah.
So I got the clip of
Yeah.
Mao and Bobby from this past weekend. You guys ready?
What a great
Shout out
username for the
to
person that posted this, though.
Negro Butcher? He's
Yeah.
cool shit.
Yeah.
I met him in LA. Here we go.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ouch.
yeah. No,
Ouch.
saw that spot.
Yeah. This was like a...
Yeah, that hurts.
I hated it. And then
Ooh.
I was like, nobody... I didn't hear what happened with him, but then he wrestled the next day on the next show. There.
Well, yeah, and like that's another thing
I
is
was
like
all right.
Kenny Omega came back after,
Yeah.
after that spot, and he's pretty much doing another match, like, within 48 hours afterwards. So clearly he's okay.
Yeah.
But like those types of spots, when done correctly with the correct professionals, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But yeah, dude, you gotta, like, other professional wrestlers that see that, you gotta stop trying to mimic that stuff. Right. Like, that takes years of practice. And years of just experience in the ring to be able to pull those things off and make them look real without them being so, without putting you in a wheelchair. That type of crazy shit. But so I'm glad that AEW it seems like they're reining it in enough to where it's like, you know what, let's put some regulations on some shit. Don't be as wild, wild west. So I'm good with that. This last pay-per-view was weird. It was a weirdly toned pay-per-view, but they've got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Like, so I'm happy for what they've got going on. But the biggest story right now is still WWE with the Bloodline. So what do you guys think? Do you think it's stale, or do you think it's continuing to be good? Like, do you think it needs to be wrapped up, or like, are we still good with it?
I think I would say yes.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it has played out over such a long period of time because they've made chapters out of it. And, like, does this chapter need to end? I think so.
Sure.
Does that mean it's completely wrapped up? I don't know. Because right now, to me, there's still several people that it makes a lot of sense for me to have take the title off Roman. Is this the time to do it? Maybe.
Josh, what are you thinking?
I will admit, I still love it compared to April, but not as much. Like, I'm starting to get bored of it.
Okay.
But I was high on, like, everything they've been doing. I was like, everybody was upset that Cody lost, and I was like, no, it makes sense. Don't think Cody should have won. And then people started slowly coming around and be like, all right, you know what? Maybe this makes sense. This is good. But now I'm like, I don't really care for SummerSlam. I'll put it that way. Like,
SummerSlam's going to be a weird one.
That's one of the biggest shows, and I just don't care.
So I want to bring up SummerSlam because this is kind of like one of the reasons I wanted to ask that question is because I think when they had Roman eat the pin on this last pay-per-view, that kind of made my jaw hit the floor. I expected them to lose. I expected Solo to be the one that took the fall. I did not expect it to be Roman. And then when it happened, I was like, oh shit. Like so now they're transitioning that storyline into the chips and the armor part of the storyline.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, he can take a loss. Like he can take a pin. And I think that nobody in their right mind thinks that Jey Uso is going to take the title off of him.
I do.
You think they might do it?
I think it might happen. I think there's a great story to tell with Jey Uso having been secretly the center of this entire storyline.
He has been.
God knows he has put forth tremendous effort in ring, in promos, holding his end of this down. I could see it being a thing where he wins the title and then Roman has lost his damn mind and maybe takes it back from him and we have a Cody win down the road or a Sami Zayn win, but whomever takes it off Roman in theory it's a kingmaker situation.
It is.
And that's why so many people were upset about Cody, even if it is something where it's like, yeah, no, he's been here for a cup of coffee because of the fact that he had that injury, but that also kept him fresh. So the timing made a lot of sense in that way as well. So I could see it go either way. But Jey Uso, I think, is a more legitimate threat to take the title off Roman than people are giving credit for.
I think he could like believably do it. I don't know if they're going to do it at SummerSlam. But I think
it would make me very happy if they did.
I mean, admittedly, as a fan, I would lose my fucking mind.
Right, that's
like,
the thing. It'd
legitimately, I would like if Jay actually took the title from him at SummerSlam, like that would absolutely bring me back to being a child fan again.
Yeah,
like, and I just don't know if they have the balls to do that yet.
We've been burned too much before.
We have, honestly, like. We kind of have wrestling fan PTSD, guys.
Yeah, we trauma from
well, I think this is one of. I think this is one of the exciting things about the fact that they didn't have Cody win. I still think they should have probably had Cody win, but now we're conditioned to be like, I thought I knew when this was supposed to end, so at any point, it's gonna be crazy.
In my perfect world. Cody finishing the story leads to Cody and Roman losing, and Paul Heyman going with Cody.
Fun.
That because it's a double turn at that point, which that to me is like one of the only good logical conclusions to a story because now you have a thing where Roman right now is like just king shit for heels. Like he's the top of the mountain as far as heel stuff goes. And how do you take that and take such a drastic changeover to make him turn face again eventually? The only way to me to do that, like when I'm looking at this like whole bloodline thing, is you take somebody who's like the top shit babyface. Because like right now, Cody, as far as babyface stuff goes, he's kissing babies, he's giving away his weight belts, like he is the top of the mountain as far as like face type of stuff goes. And if you have a match between Cody and Roman where Roman is still fully within like just nuclear heel, that type of thing, and then the ending of it comes around where the final person to leave Roman's side is Paul Heyman, and Cody like snaps and goes from being that like top of the mountain face to doing this like just nuclear heel turn, You now do that double switch, and like to me, that like first off, if you can pull off a double turn and you can pull it off properly, there's like that's like some of the best shit in wrestling. Doing the double turn in one match. So if they pull that off, that to me is like gold standard. That right there is that's the end for me. So do you guys have any like fantasy booking things going on for the Bloodline?
I do.
What's yours? Tell me what you got.
All right, this is kind of more stupid than
That's
serious.
fine. Stupid's fun.
So
It's my favorite part of wrestling.
If we were gonna go legit, amazing finish, Jay winning the belt from Roman, right? If we were gonna go, Josh Alba's booking WrestleMania 40. It would be great if Jay loses. SmackDown comes. We find out the champion the entire time was Paul Heyman. Because he held the belts longer than Roman has.
Yeah.
And then they all beat the shit out of him. So then now we're getting Roman versus Paul Heyman, WrestleMania 40, Philly. And then we get the Sandman joining the Bloodline. We get Sabu joining the Bloodline. And then they bring back ECW on Sci-Fi. No.
The Extreme Bloodline.
And I'll never work for WWE. Okay.
No, okay. The WrestleMania in Philly thing is half of the reason that I think the Paul Heyman turn that does the double turn would work so well. Because if you have Paul like go to hand Roman the title, like for like some shenanigans, and then when Roman goes to grab for it and Paul pulls the title back and just does like one of those, like no, like like it was me the whole fucking time, like that type of thing, like. If he does that audience, dude, people in Philly will lose their fucking mind. Like, that will be, as far as pops go, that will be one of the biggest pops.
Are we saying that Paul turns baby in this situation? Or
no, he stays heel and goes with Cody, who is now a nuclear heel.
Okay.
And takes the title, which also immediately makes Roman be like the one. It takes Roman from that top of the mountain heel, crashes him down to earth, and it immediately makes the audience, and like, and it's when you do that though, it's gonna have Cody kind of having that thing that Roman had in the beginning too, where even though Roman was doing fucked up stuff, people still wanted to cheer him because it was like, this is the Roman that we wanted.
Yeah,
so you kind of got like the Stone Cold effect. Where it's just like, we want you, like you're doing like some fucked up stuff, but also we love you, like that type of thing. Whereas like now Roman, now people fucking hate him.
I still have a feeling. I mean, like obviously I don't know, but like I still have a feeling like they were possibly trying to get Kenny and the Young Bucks over to WWE because that would have been a sick heel turn for Cody to have the Elite come in and destroy Roman. And maybe
that would be insane.
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman back in the Elite.
That would be fucking crazy.
Like, that'd be
nuts.
Yeah.
Dude, if they pulled that off.
I think they were trying to maybe see if they could make that happen.
If they could pull that off, if the contracts expired for Kenny and the Bucks and they brought in the Elite after they had already brought in Cody and had like that kind of a shift, dude, that's an all-timer.
Yeah, because I don't think current Cody is going to finish the story. I think Ring of Honor, badass Cody will finish the story and fuck your mom too. Like that's what he's going to do.
He's actually going to finish the neck tattoo also. He's going to have the full. He's going to have the full collar neck tattoo, and it'd be like, now he's evil. Now he's evil Cody.
Oh man, I do like that. I think for me, here's my arc.
Yeah.
Jay wins at SummerSlam. Everything goes fucking crazy. Roman beats the living shit out of him after.
Just loses his mind.
Yeah. It can be at the pay-per-view. It can be the next night. But he has lost his mind without the title. Jay has to vacate it because he's just gotten so damn messed up. We then have Cody go up against Roman. Let's say Survivor Series.
Okay.
Takes it off him. Wins it, completes the journey. I forget what pay-per-view Dusty debuted on in terms of the modern echelon of WWE pay-per-views. Could be fun to have him do it on that pay-per-view.
Okay.
I would then have him slowly turn heel. I'm going to take your Paul Heyman thing.
Yeah.
He surpasses the amount of days that his dad had as an NWA champion, which I think was like 83.
Okay.
So like he does that. He's like, I don't have any more story for this. I miss running things.
Sure.
I'm going to bring in Paul. He starts turning heel. Kevin Owens decides our friend has gone a little nuts. I try to take the title off him.
Try to beat the crazy out of him.
Try to beat the crazy out of him. Loses that. Gets a rematch. Out crazies him in terms of heelish things. And he's losing his damn mind.
Okay.
And then it's down to Sami Zayn has to win the Royal Rumble and take the title off Kevin Owens at Mania.
Yeah, that's
my arc.
That's actually another one too, because this is interesting. This is what I like about the Bloodline story, is that there's so many branches to it, and it sparks
I keep
conversations
trying to figure out
like
how
this.
you can wrap them all up.
Yeah, and that's what's so good about what they're doing, because every time we think, this is why I presented the question of whether you guys think it's stale or whether it should keep going, because every time we think that they've blown their load on this storyline, something happens within a week or two where it's like, fuck, it's another layer, but it's a good layer.
Yeah.
Like, and it goes back to what Roman said, y'all motherfuckers want hamburger and we're giving you filet mignon. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and it's testing the limits of what modern wrestling fans are willing to deal with as far as a storyline goes.
Well, I mean, we're also conditioned to take in these stories as A plot, B plot, C plot.
Right.
On like most traditional shows. Half hour, sometimes A, B, light little C. But like when you have 2 hours, 3 hours, and you have all these splintered narratives, one can rest, it can come back, it can just continue and mutate. And I don't know, it hit my head that like, I don't know if I'm ready for this to wrap up, because I don't know if where they're headed is with storylines traditionally wrapping up.
Right.
I think it might just keep evolving, which is interesting to me. As long as we keep bringing in new players and weaving them in and out, we can make this go forever.
Also, the Inoue family is, that whole Samoan dynasty of a family is gigantic.
Yes.
So you can start looking into other people to come in here and start fucking with the like a ripple effect in that storyline, because you have other people from other companies, whether their contracts expire or not, or if partnerships. Like, I don't think that anything's going to happen with anybody in MLW because they've got their issues with WWE. But like in a perfect world, Jacob Fatu coming in there and just wrecking shit all of a sudden, like people would just like, whoa, like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like the second coming of Umaga. And coming in there, you got him, you got Tama Tonga, you know, who's been talking shit to Roman for years. Like,
Yeah.
So you got that situation. We got the actor and writer strike now. So guess whose schedule opened up? The Rock, who's been talking shit to Grayson Waller now. Which
This
is
the
another
first
whole
moment
thing.
that hit me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dwayne has some downtime.
He fucking does. He has downtime because everything that he was doing just stopped.
Yeah.
Like literally just halted. And I don't think people understand like how big a writer and actor strike at the same time actually is, and what that's going to do to productions. Like, I don't think people grasp that. So even if like it's just paused for a couple of weeks, that fucking changes
it won't be.
so much. No, it's not. It's going to be
So I'm SAG-AFTRA.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff that's happening within this strike on the actor side where it's like the Producers Guild wants to be able to own like background actors' likenesses in perpetuity after a day rate to be able to do what they want with it, which is I think like $100 some odd.
Jesus.
Like, this is something where if that's a sticking point, that you're letting us get to the point where we are striking,
Yeah.
then this might be a longer fight. But if you're going to take on the WGA, which is members are some of the best messengers in terms of everything, and then the most recognizable people who regularly are communicating with the media, it seems like a bad angle to take in terms of taking them both on. So good luck, Producers Guild. Like,
Yeah, it is interesting. Like I said, it's very interesting. I have a lot of friends that are actors and work within, you know, SAG and everything like that have talked to me about this, and it's fucking wild. But again, as it bleeds over to wrestling, that fantasy booking that people have been talking about now with The Rock,
Sure.
that could be a thing now.
Yeah, that's more viable, I'd say, than it's probably ever been, schedule-wise, at least.
Right. Now, would you guys be into a thing where Roman has gotten to the point where he's beaten the Usos? He's beaten, let's say Solo finally deflects, and he beats Solo. And he gets to the point where he's like, I am the head at the table. There's nobody left. And then The Rock comes out. Like, are we on board with that if that happens?
Yes and no. I'd like to see it after he loses the title. Like, I'd like to see him versus The Rock as you got to find your headspace, man.
Sure.
Like, and still have it be over the idea of the head of the table and the future of this. You could also involve Jay and Jimmy and Solo. Hell, have it be a fucking 5-way match. Why not?
Yeah.
Like,
A full bloodline civil war with all of them? Like,
yeah. Internal war games. Let's just have it.
I mean, listen, I'm not
Give it to
against
me.
that. Josh, what do you think? Are you down with the potential?
I mean, I would be, but like Brad said, like it's just, it can't be for the title. The story has to be good. They have to emphasize more on the story with it. I don't think just putting it together because
He's gotta show up soon.
We kind of heard about it happening for
Yeah.
a minute now. So
Like,
it's
who
if
does it
happens,
make
it's-
if it happens?
Right,
It's
right.
like, all right, it happened. So what? Okay, what about it makes it so interesting? Like, why?
Right.
You know.
That's fair. That's what that. Yeah, and that's why I presented the question because I think it's something that's been talked about for at this point years, where people have been like, when is The Rock gonna come in and put Roman in his place, so to speak, you know, as the head of the table or head of the family or whatever. And I think there've been times where it was a potential like realistic thing, but I don't think that potential has been high. I think it's been kind of one of those ones where it's just kind of like a little like we're gonna dangle it a little bit, but like there's no realistic possibility for it happening. That's where it's interesting
hard to schedule
now.
those things, particularly when like Rock tore his oblique off his ribs or something
yeah.
like that. Like if you're a producer on the movies and then you're like, well, we have to stop filming for 3 months. We had locations down. And
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Like no insurance company is going to be overly thrilled with, hey man, I'm going to go wrestle Roman Reigns.
Right.
That's going to be fine for my body.
Yeah. It's gonna have to be a little paint by numbers match type of thing. Mm-hmm. That's what I also saw when John Cena came back and he went against Roman. That's why I wasn't excited about that match because I was like, John Cena is currently a very active actor, which means that this match is gonna be pretty paint by numbers, and it absolutely fucking was.
It didn't need to be anything more than that because like they told the story really well. Neither of them needed to be like, let's put on a match of the year banger. It's
Right.
Can you beat me? You have not done the job up until now.
Yeah.
I have to keep coming in.
Yeah, that's right. That is true. So I want to transition this to because we're talking about hype. We're talking about whether something is stale or not. This is going to be something I'm going to present to you guys because I am firmly in one camp on this. But now that we have Collision with AEW coming out, like now that we have that being a show, and we have it being an almost brand split situation, like with AEW, do we feel like the CM Punk return was worth it?
Yeah.
And just like to be completely transparent, I'm firmly in the fuck CM Punk camp. I don't like him. I don't like him as a person, and as a wrestler, I'm way the fuck over him. So that's why I'm saying I'm presenting this one to you guys because I'm very biased at this point.
I'm a fan of seeing him on my television. In my brief encounter with him, he was a super cool dude. But, you know, I think whatever helps AEW right now, and they have two really dynamic programs happening right now, I do think he is part of that and part of that reason. So I'd say yes, but, you know, we'll see long term. Not
Josh?
to be overly political.
No, that's fair.
We'll see. It's fine.
It's a fair take. Absolutely fair take.
I've been enjoying it. I do enjoy just straight up angry CM Punk. I feel like that's what we've been seeing. Just angry, I want to fight you, CM Punk. Seeing where that goes. If he's going to be a heel turn or whatever coming down in the future. I just don't like the show being on Saturdays. I don't know why. That's just such a...
It's a bad choice for a day.
I do like, obviously, you know, you got Elton John theme song. It's pretty dope.
That's been
Everybody's
sick, yeah.
But I really hate that it's on Saturdays. And I know it's very ambitious. I really wish that show was on Mondays. because I'd watched that over Raw.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they've advertised AEW during Raw before, so if they did it again,
Sure.
advertise that show, how many people you get to switch over? You know, I think
I-
it's.
Do you remember who it was on Twitter, Josh, that was talking shit about it being on Saturdays, and then Dax came in and was like, "Hey, we're doing our best," like that type of thing.
I don't remember.
But yeah, somebody came on there
The
and
same 3 people on Twitter.
yeah, somebody popped on there and basically said that wrestling on Saturdays does not work. Televised wrestling doesn't work, and it never has worked.
I mean,
And then you had people pop on there like WCW Saturday Night, and it's like, motherfucker, that does not count. That's a syndicated bullshit show.
don't.
But
Yeah.
to be fair on this, on both sides of it, Saturday Night's main event, when it worked, was great. But it worked as like it worked as like a quarterly thing.
Yeah.
And then Shotgun Saturday Night was cool as a concept, but there was no way that was sustainable, just based solely off the fact that they were doing what they were doing. And it just wasn't going to work. So I don't think there's been the room to let that grow yet. But I do see where they're coming from. Saturday's a tough day.
I do think that it's better than Saturday Night main event. Even when they brought it back, I think it's already way better, more interesting. I mean, I don't think it matters that it's on Saturdays because I just watch it on Sunday. You know? So it's kind of nice that I could just, all right, what am I doing Sunday afternoon? Being hungover, let me watch Collision.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Right.
It's like, whatever.
And a lot of this is based on Nielsen ratings, which is an antiquated model
It's garbage.
at best.
Yeah.
Like, from what I perceive, Tony Khan's big play, and it is a smart big play, particularly now, is like eventually this content's going to get aggregated on a streamer.
Yeah.
So having Collision and the backlog of that, like, if you're even doing the Nielsen +2s thing of like the 2 days afterwards, how many people did we actually bring in? Like the initial numbers that you get for a Saturday night, yeah, it may be a hard night, but you compete against other people's schedules every night.
Right.
And once that gets to a streamer in terms of accessibility, rather than I have a cable subscription, I can log into my TNT app or TBS app. Like,
who has cable anymore? Come
right.
on. Like,
it's going to be, I think, a bigger deal in terms of how we see that impact Collision. Like right now they're trying stuff out and it's the first 2 months of the show.
Yeah.
And it feels different, which I think is so huge in wrestling because God knows that many times over many years Raw and SmackDown just feel a bit, there's red paint here and blue paint here. This has a different layout. And
this doesn't feel like Rampage Part 2.
This feels... I know I definitely enjoy it more than Dynamite. That's definitely, for me, my opinion. I like Collision more than Dynamite. I do enjoy it way more. It definitely does feel different. It feels more lively. I guess if that's the right word.
Yeah, it's fair.
Compared to Dynamite. Because Dynamite, you'll have your story. You know what it is? Because I think because Dynamite, they have a lot more we're just going to have this match, and we're going to talk about what's going on storyline-wise throughout the show.
Yeah.
Collision is just, these 3 matches are happening.
Today. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Let's go,
Okay.
And it's more action, so...
Yeah, I think those are great takes on it. Mm-hmm. It is interesting because people, you're seeing now the AEW versus WWE fan bases where you're seeing the shitty people coming out of both. And that was happening no matter what, but now that there's a very clear divide where people are like, oh, AEW is doing this and it's immediately shitty, and then it's all right, fucking calm down.
It makes no sense to me.
No, it's
honestly.
just give them their chance, let them do their thing. And so staying on the AEW thing while we wrap the show up, I have a question for both of you because I've spent some time playing it now too. AEW Fight Forever is out. It's been played a lot now. What are you guys' feelings on it? Josh?
I unlocked Owen yesterday, and I don't care for it for a while.
You're like, I got Owen hard. I'm done for a little bit.
Shit out of the game. The game's fun. I love it. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I want more shit to come out for it, though. So seems like they're on it. So.
Do you like the concept of it being a game that's just going to continuously evolve as opposed to dropping a yearly game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's big. I mean... You've had a lot of wrestling games have years to really develop what they're doing with their engine. There was a very fast turnaround in terms of building a new engine for a new video game for them. And I think they've done something admirable with it from the footage I've seen. I have yet to play it, but I think
Oh shit. Okay.
if we have an upgrade every year, dope.
Yeah, because I see it as like a Fortnite for wrestling. I think that's what they're picturing, especially with the Stadium Stampede match.
Stadium Stampede seems cool.
It looks like
Yeah.
a battle royale, but wrestling. And I do enjoy the idea. Yeah, I have a feeling they're just going to be updating stuff as the years go by, months go by. It'll probably get more and more into it. They'll probably come out with like some kind of monthly pass that you pay for.
Sure.
Well, it is what it is, but
Like a fight pass type of
I
thing.
I
Makes
would
sense
definitely
for
play that
revenue
game.
stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I would rather have a monthly pass to play certain things as opposed to microtransactions, because there's a lot of games, especially like that go into the simulation sports games, that just microtransaction the fuck out of you. So like that's where they get their revenue stream, whereas I think a monthly pass thing would be cool. But now here's a question for you, Brandon.
Yes.
What do you think the possibility of, and also do you think it would be cool if they started a contract with independent promotions and bring in indie wrestlers? Because it very much has, if you haven't played it, it very much has a like No Mercy type of feel to it. Like very arcadey, but also the reason I asked this is because we found out through modding communities that this game, holy shit, is it an open book for modifications. So like it actually would not be hard to bring in certain personalities on the indie scenes and start bringing in their likeness.
So I'm gonna get super technical with this.
Please, yeah. Please do.
I think it would be technically cool. I think you'd get into like a bit of a likeness nightmare.
Sure.
Just in terms of trying to get a licensing deal for the looks of people that are not under your umbrella of a promotion. However, I think one of the best things about No Mercy, which I think they've referenced a decent bit as one of the models for this, was your ability to create a call and it being awesome and then talking in the online forums about it and stuff like that. I feel like it would be to the detriment of that for them to do that and expend the energy on that when they might be signed in a couple of weeks, couple months, a couple of years. And if you're just continually updating it, I just wouldn't see a reason to do it when you could have the fans do it and come up with what's the best version there.
On that point, the creator wrestler in AEW Fight Forever is the worst one that I've ever seen.
Really?
It is horrible.
Bad, but it's also funny.
It's
like,
hilarious, but it is beyond bare bones.
It's like that's what you look like in Fight Forever. Like you have a distinct look to it, and it's kind of hilarious.
It's because they didn't spend any time on that specific part of the game.
No.
What they spent time on was the Road to Elite and the buildable universe of the game and what they're going to be doing going forward. But the Create a Wrestler and the Create Arena and Create whatever the fuck, it is easily the worst part of the game. But as far as like attention to detail goes, like you have basically no options in the Create a Wrestler.
Create a sadness.
It's such a bummer. Like you'll have people that are in modding communities or like creators on WWE 2K, like what's the status and stuff like that. When the game came out and they were like, dude, I'm so sad because they would put out stuff that like they wanted to make certain people and stuff. They were like, this is what I made. Like, it's just there's no options to it. So that's actually one of the reasons I was curious about it because
I mean, I could see them doing that monthly pass thing or like, hey, we're going to do an upgraded graphics package and comp package.
Yeah.
Have at.
If they update the Create a Wrestler thing, I would be ecstatic because I like the game. I definitely don't love the game. It's taking its time to warm up to me, but I hope that the future of the game is bright because I'm fully supportive of it. I'll tell people, fucking buy the game, like support the game. You should. But right now, I'm just not sold on it. I'm just like, meh. Like but the exploding ring barbed wire match is fun as shit.
That's great.
The thumbtacks is the funnest fucking weapon. They're so awesome. The thumbtacks work really well in the game. And there are a lot of cool things about the game. Like, so I by no means do I think it's a bad game. I just think it's a game that is more of a blank canvas than a complete game right now, which is not a bad thing.
Sounds like those like phones that you can add a modded piece to.
Kinda, sorta. Like if you look at some of the modding stuff that the modding communities have been doing, holy shit! Like, dude, the bones are there to make so many things in that game. And I don't think we've seen that in a long time for a game, especially for a wrestling game. But when I talk about like modability, we're talking like Fire Pro Wrestling levels. Like you can go in there and fucking basically make anything. Somebody made a Hell in a Cell exploding ring match that had a working elevator in the middle of it that would drop down from the roof that people could walk onto, and it would elevator them up to the top of the cell.
That's mind blowing.
Mario.
Yeah, like straight up. It reminded me of like Day of Reckoning, the Day of Reckoning games, where you could take somebody and throw them into fucking traffic, like stuff like that. It was just like, oh yeah, that arcadey shit's fun. But yeah, the modding stuff that they've been doing it with it, like literally just a person opened up the framework of the game and said, let's see what I can do. And then within a week, like they've made Buried Alive matches that are accurate. They've made Inferno matches that are accurate. They've made this Hell in the Cell thing that looks incredible. By the way, there's not even a steel cage match in the game as it is.
Yeah.
They've made this steel cage Hell in a Cell match thing completely from the ground up within a week.
I mean, that'd be a fascinating way to try to onboard people onto the game. It's just like, oh, you did a good thing. Here.
There you go.
Come on.
I'm gonna go ahead and hire you.
I believe they might have installed something where, so it's on the PC. So what it does is they installed this thing where it will block the app from connecting to the internet.
Yeah.
While you're using these mods, because I think they do flag you if you get caught.
I mean, that would make sense.
Fine.
Yeah. But it's a good thing because in a way it can motivate the devs to be like, hey, why don't you fucking put this in?
I can just see somebody that's like some higher up creative dude comes in there. It's hey, what the fuck is that? Look, fucking Bill from Wisconsin just made an entire blood and guts match.
14-year-old
Put your bagel
Timmy
down.
just
Yeah.
made a firework match with Mario in it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What are you doing? Nothing. You're going home early. That's what you're doing. Like
We hired 14-year-old Timmy. You can fuck off.
yeah, you're fired. We hired a child because he's better than you, and you know it. Anyway, that is, dude.
We're not advocating for child labor.
No, we are not. We are
Just
not.
for AEW Fight for It.
Oh, also, this is the last thing I'll say before we get some plugs in here. MJF went full Karen on United Airlines, and it made me laugh really hard. He was like, he went full Karen. Like, it was on Twitter. It was great. He was like, he basically, this is what's funny about it. Because MJF on Twitter usually is an asshole anyway. And he's very good at it. He's very entertaining at it. As a person, I don't know MJF, but, you know, whatever. So he apparently went, had a flight through United. They lost his baggage and they also delayed his flight. So he was like, United Airlines, you pieces of shit, you're making me lose time with my cat. Like, because he loves his cat.
I've never related to anything more in my life.
He's like, you're making me lose time with my cat, and I don't like that. And also, you lost my bags. And then he went off on them. And then at the end of it, he said, if anybody can give me the address to the CEO, I will be very happy. And then within like 10 minutes, somebody was like, do we need to send out an SOS call to the CEO of the company? He was like, I already got the address. It's being handled. Like, dude, the fact that, like, of all people, MJF is just like, I'm going to put out what is very clearly a threat on this person's physical person. And they were just like, we're going to let that happen. We're just going to let it happen.
It's fine. No, flights have been utterly insane.
They've been horrible. Yeah. I have noticed it actually with multiple people that have had issues with it, but it just made me laugh that he was like, you're making me not see my cat, and I'm putting a hit out on your life. Like, that's basically what it read as. Like, you've lost time with my cat, now you have to die.
But that's babyface heat right there, like going after CEO of an airline.
It's super babyface heat. Also, people immediately talk shit. They're like, ooh, Maxwell flies commercial. And he's like, fuck you. Like,
Great.
yeah. Immediately crack the fourth wall. He's like, fuck off of that. All right. Let's plug some stuff. Josh, what do you got going on?
Yeah, weed. A lot of weed.
I'm high, baby.
That's I got nothing going on. I'm taking vacation. I'm taking out my mom to Puerto Rico in August.
Are you going to get your mom high
Maybe.
on Puerto Rican weed?
I don't know.
You should.
Possibly. I'll try.
They probably got cool Puerto Rican names for their weed, too.
Yeah. It's joshalba.com. There's no shows on there, but you could come to my show, Pine Box Rock Shop.
That's what I was going to say. You're still doing Pine Box,
Yeah,
right?
we're still doing that shit.
Yeah.
And I'll be at Pine Box the last Thursday of July. There's another show, comedy. I don't fucking know. It's somebody's birthday show.
Dude, admittedly,
the Pine Box that last Thursday of July.
I was gonna say, dude, it is tough for comedy right now in New York because it is grotesque outside.
Oh, it's like walking through butter.
Yeah.
It's grody.
Yeah, so
It's
like,
pretty bad.
it's
That's
tough.
being-
It's tough right now. So I'm glad you're still doing your show. Like,
Yeah. Well, we have AC in the room, so that's
yeah.
another
See,
part.
there
We
you
have
go.
Air conditioning.
Fucking air conditioning, Pine Box Rock Shop. Go check that out.
Very fun.
Brendan, what's going on with Catalyst?
For Catalyst, we have Bell Time, September 24th at Chilo's. It's our final show of the summer at Chilo's, and we got Rocky Romero coming back in.
Yes.
So that should be sick. We will be at Premier Streaming Network's showcase event September 9th. Every company that's working with them is throwing up a match, and I'll make an exclusive here. That I'll double check on and we can edit out if I'm wrong about making that exclusive. But Darius Carter will be facing Colby Carino and Homicide at that September 9th event. We have
Fingers crossed that
because
that's
the
going on.
internet and Brave New World also airing on Premier Streaming Network very shortly. We've been doing a lot of cool shit with drones and 360s on these, and it really does make like a very different presentation. But we also have just like a great group of wrestlers and the most incredible audience that we could ask for. So definitely check those out. We also air on Fight Network here in New York. You can check out catalystwrestling.com to get tickets, links to the VODs, and even get yourself some cool merch. So.
Fuck yeah. Anything else you got going on for just you?
For just me, trying to get my wrestling documentary back up and going.
All right.
Running the wrestling company with just Hunter, Matt, Lee, Katie. Shout out to Ryan Edgar, Ben Moniz, and Damon Chan, all of which are like the integral people of making Catalyst Wrestling happen. And, you know, we need people like Ben Moniz, who's a pilot, to fly the drone. We're really trying to do different shit there. But that has taken over my life. We're trying to start back up the Declaration of Independent Wrestling documentary, which we filmed in 2019, right before the pandemic, when WrestleMania was in town, with Evolve, Kaiju Big Battle, MLW, Impact, and shot on red cameras and whatnot. So
Goddamn.
hopefully cracking away at that, because with the writer's strike and actor's strike, fucking bored.
Schedules have opened up.
Yeah, I have time. Me and Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, it's you too.
Have
It's you
time.
guys. That's badass, dude. And both you guys, I'm glad you guys are both doing stuff. I got the Traumedy Hour coming up. It's July 27th. We got Brittany Ledesma doing the headlining spot on that. And the last shout out I'm going to give, because we didn't talk about Impact at all. So the last shout out I'm going to give very specifically is to Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich, because not only am I fully on board as a fan with them, but also their tag team name is MK Ultra. Fucking sign me up, dude.
Masha Slamovich, also at Bell Time, September 24th.
Fantastic. So, Killer Kelly, we've reached out to you before. Like, we'll put together our entire life savings. It's not very much to have you on the show.
$4.
Box of water.
Yeah.
At least 2 boxes of water.
I'm a huge fan of Killer Kelly anyway, because I'm a horror aficionado. So like her whole Freddy Krueger thing that she's got going on top of the fact that she's been doing all the other stuff with Masha and everything, just all of it, and fucking yeah. And MK Ultra, just the fact that they used a government mind control experiment as their team name, I'm like, just yes, I love
Good.
you so much, just absolutely.
We must stand.
It's the best shit ever. So yeah, shout out to them, and keep checking them out, because they just won the Knockout Tag Team titles on Impact over at Slammiversary. I think it was Slammiversary. I don't pay attention to their pay-per-views anymore.
I'm so excited for Alex Shelley, like, being their world champion right now.
Yeah.
Like, they've been putting on just fantastic work, just the whole company.
Yeah, they honestly have.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's very underseen, but when you do see it, you're like, oh fuck. Like, it's definitely, like, as far as talent-wise goes and like product quality goes, it's high up. It's through the roof. So they're doing great stuff. But this has been the Monday Nitro Party. Brendan Sokler, and we've already got all the plugs out there.
Yep.
Come out and see Josh's show, and then also come out and see the Traumedy Hour. You guys have been great. This has been the Monday Nitro Party, and we will see you next week.